What's up, you guys? My name is Brianna, and welcome back to the Abide with Faith podcast. First of all, I'm so dang excited because if you're watching on YouTube, or I think you can even watch this on Spotify now, you see my face. Like you see my face. You see the hair. You see I need a new retwist. It's okay. We're gonna make it work. But I am doing my very first video podcast in today's episode, which is also kind of funny because I just realized that I didn't put out any podcast episodes in the year of 2024. We're like 2 weeks away from 2025. That's nuts. Okay. So I just really thought that it would be good for me to come on here, give you guys some updates, life updates, what's been going on, some very overdue promised updates. Because my last podcast episode was in July of 2023, which is like, girl, what's happening? We're gonna get into the nitty gritty, but today I am going to be sharing what God taught me in 2024, and also a little bit of some life updates thrown in there. Also, I am looking over at my laptop just to make sure that I'm covering all my bases, because everything that I wrote down is important, and I want you guys to kind of understand where I'm coming from, kind of really understand where I am with God right now. And yeah, we're gonna work it out together. So let's hop into it. First of all, I feel like I need to do kind of a little bit of background where I left off at in terms of where I was in 2023. So in 2023, a lot of my podcast episodes were really serviced and based around the idea of me living my single life and really learning how to cope with not having my business anymore. So I did have multiple businesses between 2021 and 2023. A lot of it had to do with natural hair care. So I did hair products, I did hair accessories, I did lip gloss, I did clothing even at one point. If you know, then you know. If you have been along with this journey with me and you've just been along for the ride, I want to thank you so much for just being a supporter, or even just watching from afar, and maybe admiring from afar. That's so very much appreciated for me. So I just really felt it in my heart that I no longer had space in my life to be able to do the whole entrepreneurship thing. Not only was I packaging orders, but I was creating videos so that I was able to get these orders and, grow my business. And I even had a LLC at one point. And eventually towards the last couple of months of 2022, early 2023, I really felt like God was telling me, hey, it's time to hang it up. Like we had a great run. We had a great, 2, almost 3 years with this business, but it's time to move on to something a little bit more profound. And I really am so grateful for everything that my business taught me, because as a content creator, as somebody who posts online, not only did it teach me a lot about business, in the business side of things, but also now as a consumer, I know how these companies think, So I'm like, I see what you're trying to do. So I feel like that's really cool on both ends. But anywho, that's how 2023 ended for me. And that's just kind of what I was talking about, and really just those different portions of my life. Now, 2024. This year was such a roller coaster for me, you guys. And I feel like I'm forgetting details. This is why I have the notes, you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My brain is having like the biggest, no kind of understanding of what's going on. So, also I forgot to mention, and I did, do a podcast episode about this. In 2023, I started to talk a lot about my struggles with sexual sin. So sex, soul ties, lust, all of that. I really dedicated an entire podcast episode to my sexual sin. So if you haven't listened to that, and maybe that's something you're struggling with, I would highly recommend also listening to that episode. It is already uploaded, and it has been for a while. And I got my Spotify Wrapped back for creators. And that podcast episode that I made about my, sexual sin story and lust and all of my struggles within all of that, connecting with my faith, was my most played podcast episode. So I feel like that's also why I wanted to come on here and really express what's going on and give you guys updates on how I'm doing, what I'm doing, how I'm doing, what I'm doing, because obviously it's something that people are interested in learning more about, or maybe trying to find a solution so that they can, move forward and try and make a change as well. So I was like, you know what? We got to get in here. So I did start writing a book at the end of 2023 about my sexual sin story, pretty much. So it wasn't anything I was so super serious about. I was like, I'll say a little something, but I had no intentions of getting it published. So in my sexual sin podcast episode, I did talk about how a publisher actually reached out to me, and I sent in my draft for my book, my transcript, and they're like, yeah, we love this. We want to publish your book. So 2024 has been filled with edits and photo shoots and more edits and promotions for this book. And you guys, it's here. This is what it looks like. I'm so proud of this, and I feel like I love it because when I said I was writing a book, I think people were kind of going to assume that it was going to be, like this huge, thick book. No, babes. No, it's very thin. It's like 30 pages. And I love this because it's not a super long read. It's very understandable. You can write in this. It's very guiding for somebody who really is struggling with sex, soul ties, and what the Word of God says. And I feel like in this book, I really do explain a lot of my struggles, and not just like what I'm struggling with, but where those struggles actually stemmed from. Because a lot of the time, the solution to what we're worried about or something that we may be struggling with, and we've talked to God about this a million times, we're like, okay, God, I'm struggling with this, but it's not going away. Like, I don't know what to do now. Like, what can I do to push this off and not make it this big deal? It's because we're not really digging deep into the root of it. Where did this start? How did it start? Why did it start? These are all things that we technically should be thinking about. And it took me a while to really come to the realization, like, oh my gosh, like my habits are actually affecting my lust-filled thoughts. Like, that's just the reality of it. That was the reality of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Brianna, this is big. And I think also after the publisher reached out, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up and finish this book. And it's kind of funny, not funny, because it actually came to a point in my writing process where I was like, okay, maybe I can just make up this ending and say that I no longer struggle with this. And I wrote an entire ending to the book, the version of where I was completely healed. I no longer had lustful thoughts. I was no longer watching pornography. I was no longer masturbating. And I was like, wait, this is my first book. If I'm going to do this the right way, I cannot lie to the people. First of all, because morally that would be bad. Second of all, me lying in my, that's not helping people. And I'm writing this book to help people. So in my mind, in kind of my thought process, I was like, okay, this is definitely going to take longer than I wanted it to take, but I have to delete these entire past couple of chapters and rewrite the entire thing. Yes, it took me longer, but I felt so much better knowing that everything inside of this book is my truth. Right off the bat, I'm giving you the blunt force trauma truth of why and how my lust-filled thoughts, my desires, the way that I was thinking at the time, how that kind of turned into literally being addicted to lust and sex and masturbation and watching pornographic scenes online. Like, all of these things, I talk about it right off the bat. There's no sugarcoating in this book. Like, it's very straight up. It's very straight to the point. And I love that I told my story, but I also did it in a way to where it's very inclusive for other people as well. So it's not just all about me, but it's about what happened to me, and this is what I did. This is what I want you to do. And I have such a good feeling about this book, y'all. Like, I just know it's gonna change lives. Like, lives are going to be changed. I just need to start promoting it a little bit more. So I just really wanted to highlight that and let you guys know 2024, this was probably one of my biggest wins this year, was being able to publish this book. I have always wanted to publish a book. I knew in this lifetime that I was going to publish a book. I just never thought that it would be this topic, this serious and faith-based. I was like, no way I'm gonna write a book about that. Writing this book also made me very uncomfortable, but in a good way. And I think it still kind of makes me nervous that people are going to know a portion of my life that I have never talked about with anybody out loud, except for maybe my sister, you know? Like, even knowing that at any time, if my brother is like, hey, Brianna, can I read your book? I could be like, well, here, bro, here you go. Here's the book, enjoy. I personally feel like there's a lot of things in here that even family and friends would be like, wow, you know, like, oh, wow, you did that? You did this? Wow. And it's not even in a sense that it's a touch of embarrassment, but it's more so like me telling my truth and really trying to share my truth, not just to like put myself on blast, but to help people that are actually in the same situation that I was in. And in my book, I do talk about this, but I also just wanted to make it very, 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 very clear that I still struggle with lust. I still struggle with the thoughts. I still struggle with urges of wanting to masturbate, you know, and have sex. And, you know, those are the desires that God gave us, you know, and it's not wrong to have those desires. But again, there is a place and a time for everything. And the way that I was going about it when I was younger, and even up until I was about 21 years old, I'm 24 now, was just not healthy. And I know it's not the way that God wanted me to pursue my desires, you know? So I talk about all of that in the book, but I just really wanted to share that with you guys because I'm so excited. And you actually can purchase the book now. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I literally go on, so my book is available on Walmart, Barnes and Noble, and where else? In Amazon. So it's not in physical stores, but if you go to like Walmart's website or like their online app, you can order it off of there. You can order it off of Amazon, and you can order it off of Barnes and Noble, but they don't have it in the physical stores just because they're very selective. But you know, I fangirl over myself because I literally did this morning. I went on Walmart.com and I typed in my name and my book came up. I was like, oh my God, like that's me. That's my book. God, we did this. We're going to help so many people. So yeah, this is just one of my really big wins for 2024. And I feel like this book has taught me how to be very self-disciplined. It's taught me how to be true to myself. And I will leave a link down in the show notes if you're watching on Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, I will leave it down in the description box so you can, you know, check it out. And my publishing company even got me my own YouTube channel, my own Facebook page. So I'll have to really hop on those and start being a little bit more active, and really sharing a little bit deeper into what the book is about. But I wanted to start on a win because this next lesson, and I might cry, I might not cry, but this next lesson that I feel like was really my test of time for 2024 still is very devastating for me and my family. This year, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the words. This year, I had to learn how to live without my mom. in February of this year, my mom was diagnosed with brain cancer, and she passed away in August of this year. So, about 6 months after she was diagnosed with brain cancer, she passed away. She went through a lot of chemo. I watched from the very first moment that she was diagnosed to right before she passed away. I wasn't exactly with her when she passed away, but I was with her a couple hours before she passed away. So I'm so grateful, and I'm so glad that I was able to be with her in her final moments and say what I had to say and express my feelings and really allow her to leave. I feel like she held on much longer than she really had to because of me, my sister, and my brother, because she loves us so much and because she wants to see us thrive. And my sister just had her first child, you guys. I'm an auntie, my brother's an uncle. This was supposed to be her prime, and I know that she's always wanted to be a grandmother, so I really feel like she was trying to hold on for us, but in the end, the cancer was just too aggressive and she just could not hold on. And in her room, when she was trying to hold on, she was having a hard time breathing, and when I tell you guys, she was holding on for dear life. She was holding on for dear life. She was trying to catch her breath. And that night that we went to see her for the last time, the nurses came in and said, we're really concerned about her breathing. It's just not looking good. And in that moment, I knew that it was time. And these were the last moments that I was gonna see my mom and be able to be with her. And I said to myself, okay, I didn't even give myself time to react because I had to be present. I had to be in the moment. I had to be with my mom and be with my siblings. And knowing that the past 6 months have been the hardest thing that my mom has ever had to endure, it was hard for me to even leave to go to work because I know that I had to leave her for several hours and I wasn't going to be back until the end of the day. That for me was the hardest part, and that's what really broke me. And I kept asking God, and I say this all the time to people now, but it's so odd to me because I wasn't even angry when I found out that my mom was sick. I said, you know what, God? I have an overwhelmingly amount of peace right now. But if it is time for my mom to go and be with you, I can't stop you. If it is time for her to go, it is time for her to go and be with you. My mom was in so much pain through this process, you guys. And it literally broke my heart. Broke my heart like nothing has ever broken my heart. I was so boy crazy when I was in middle school. I thought that was heartbreak. Oh no. Nothing prepared me for when my mom took the hardest downfall within the span of a week. You guys. And I just kept telling God, I don't know why I'm so at peace with this, but I am. I am so at peace with this right now, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do with this. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know where I'm going to live. At the time, When my mom got sick, I was 23, but I'm 24 now. I turned 24 about a month before she passed away. And when my mom passed away, my brother had just turned, no, my brother was still 19 when my mom passed away. Their birthdays are about 5 days apart. So my brother was still 19 at the time. I was 24 and my sister was 26. We're all in our 20s. Having to lose our mom, knowing that we're never going to speak to her again, I feel, and I express that to so many people, like, why am I so at peace with this? Most people would be punching the air, maybe even cursing God, maybe asking God, why? And it's not that I didn't ask God why, but it's that I think as soon as I knew that she was sick, I was just like, this is the year that we're gonna lose her, you know. And it's not that I wasn't optimistic, but it was just for the simple fact that I feel like I have lived so much life. And my aunt also died of cancer. I don't remember what form of cancer she had, but she also died in, I can't remember the year, but I want to say it's maybe been 4 years. So I think in 2020, I might be wrong, but my aunt also passed away from cancer. And she lived out of state, so I didn't see her often. But when she came to visit, I noticed the signs of her being sick. And, you know, when my mom got sick, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to go through this. And it was just so heart-wrenching and true heartbreak. True heartbreak, y'all. And my mom passed away in August. It's December. It's been some months, and I can't even believe it's been that long. And I feel like after my mom passed was when I really had no choice but to get my life together. My sister already had her own place. Me and my brother were living with my mom, so now it's like, okay, we have to get our own place. We have to get our own place. We can't stay here anymore. And I won't get too deep into detail because it's really not even worth talking about. But the apartment complex that we were living in, they pretty much had us going to court for an eviction notice. So we were already stressed out about that. And I was like, I told my brother and my sister, I was like, there's no way that we can stay here. Like, we have to move somewhere else. And at this point, I had to have the hard conversation with my brother, and he wasn't ready to live on his own. I said, hey, we're gonna have to move. We can't stay here. I said, do you want to live with me, or do you want to get your own place separately? And he said, oh no, I'm gonna live with you. I'm not ready to financially be by myself. And I said, okay, good. We can figure this out together, because neither am I. It literally is only by the grace of God that we were able to move out without having an extreme amount of complications and move into a new place. Literally, the way that we got our place that we're in right now, y'all, our apartment that we're in right now, is nothing but by the grace of God. Even trying to come and tour this place, it was a hassle. I think it took me about 2 weeks post applying to the place and actually coming to get an apartment tour of it. And it was such crunch time because we had to be out of our old apartment complex by the end of the month. By October 31st, they gave us to be out. So I was like, okay, we have a month. And trying to tour places and trying to find a price range that was going to work for me and my brother was, to say the least, stressful. Like, literally, it is only by the grace of God that we were able to find a place, because the lineup was just stressful. I wanted my brother and my sister to come and look at these apartments with me, because my sister has her own place. She's had her own place for a little bit now. I believe about 2 years. So I wanted her to come and look at it with me, but we all three of us, well, me and my siblings have different work schedules. My work schedule is a little bit weird. I work weekends and then I work a couple of days during the week. They work Monday through Friday, but they have weekends off. And then this apartment that we're in right now that I wanted to tour, they were closed on Sundays. They were only open Saturdays, but I'm like, I work Saturdays. I can't afford to take off work right now. Just all of these things. And then all of these documents that I had to sign with my mom's death certificate, and literally just everything is happening at once. And I literally don't feel like I was able to grieve until maybe a month after her memorial service. I was like, this is insane. It literally, like, actually, by the grace of God, I thank God every day. I literally was just standing by my window the other day looking outside, and I'm like, God, I am quite literally living in an answered prayer, because nobody but you was able to get us this place. Literally, before we were going to put in our deposit, we had gotten a call from this place and they were saying, hey, we need your pay stubs from, like, the past 3 months or so. Super nice people in the office. I literally love the ladies in this office. They're chef's kiss. Very sweet, very, very sweet, very helpful. They're kind of like mom figures to me. But they were calling to let us know. I was at work and I was like, hey, how are you? It literally felt like I was talking to a friend. I didn't even feel like I was talking to a leasing office. Love that for me. She was like, hey girl, she was like, how's it going? I was like, good, good, good. I was like, I'm going to have, the pay stubs for you probably by tomorrow. I just have to get my brother to send me his, and then I'll send it you guys' way. And, hopefully everything will work out. And she was telling me, cool. Just wanted to let you know there is another family that is going to be inputting their information and coming to tour that same apartment today. I just wanted to let you know, I know that you really love this place, but it is my job to fill up units. So if they get all of their paperwork and deposit and all of that in first, the place is going to be theirs. And I was like, oh, shit. Baby, I had never acted on anything so fast. It was like boom, 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 boom. I was like, Jaden, that's my brother's name. I was like, Jaden, I need your stuff. Ace, I was like, I need it right now. There is another family that is looking at our place that I want to get into. So it was just this whole thing. But literally, by the grace of God, we were able to get in here. We were able to move in on Halloween, which was, kind of a coinky dink. But, I think about this constantly, like, wow, God. There has been a lot of sadness this year. There has been a lot of chaos. There has been a lot of tears. I have crashed out more times than I can count. And at this point, I don't even try and hold myself back from crashing out. I'm like, Brianna, if you feel like you need to crash out, go ahead and crash out. Like, if you're at work, just step outside and crash out. Do what you need to do and crash out. It's not gonna hurt me. I feel like once I crash out, I feel a little bit better. And my mind just gets very leveled. And I'm like, okay, now I can do what I need to do. Sometimes you just have to crash out. It's like genuinely. And people, I feel like people treat crashing out or losing it like something like, oh, you need to be in a mental hospital. I feel like sometimes we just need to crash out. Like, genuinely, I feel like some of us just need to crash out sometimes and let it be what it is. Because, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Personally, I feel so much better after I crash out. I just do. Anywho, I feel like this year, again, has been a really big whirlwind. Oh my gosh. My list is not letting me be great. I feel like this year has been a whirlwind. Okay, there we go. Cool. Of emotions. But I have learned a lot about myself this year, what I want, what I should be doing, what I can do in order to get there. And I feel like that's really just been the beauty of being able to grow and go about just doing all of these different things And I really do feel like I have rediscovered who I am and who I want to be, but also who God has always tried to push me to be. At heart, I'm such a creative, and I'm somebody who loves to help people. And this book is proof of that. This book is proof that dreams do come true. Dreams do come true. Okay. Okay, there, I can talk English, or speak English. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm like losing it. But this year just truly was proof, but also a testament to time that your life can change just like that. And you won't see it coming. It won't be expected, but you're going to have to roll with the punches. And I really do feel like that's the reality that I'm living. I have so many things to be grateful for. Oh, so many people to be grateful for in this process. My grandparents, I love them. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grandpa, for getting me and my brother any and everything that we have needed in this process. Also, thank you to my aunties, Auntie Phyllis, Auntie Lynn. Thank you to my siblings, Jaden and Kiki, just for being there for me and for each other. And this year was hard. I'm currently recording this on December 23rd. Christmas Eve is tomorrow, and the following day is Christmas. So I know it's going to be really hard. Thanksgiving hit me really, really hard. I don't feel as upset for Christmas just because Christmas always brings me so much joy. We have our tree up in our living room, me and my brother. I decorated like our door and one of our bigger windows in the living room with lights. Also, I got a tattoo in honor of my mommy, you guys. It says her name, and then it says Psalms 46:5, and there's two doves on the side. I literally just got this tattoo actually exactly 3 weeks ago. I got it on December 1st, so it's been about 3 weeks, and she is healing nicely, very nicely. I love it. First tattoo, by the way. I always thought that my first tattoo, I would go a little bit smaller. So this was actually kind of surprising for me, but I just wanted to be able to honor my mom in such a way that was beautiful. And, I feel like what better way to do that, and, really have this daily reminder than to mark it on my arm. I've always wanted a tattoo anyway. I was just waiting to get something that was very meaningful because I refuse to get anything tatted on my body that has no meaning. Because why? But yeah, God has taught me so much. He's taught me a lot of patience with other people as well, because as I continue to grieve, there's just a lot of people that don't get it, It's not for them to get. I have also learned to set boundaries. There are certain family members through this process that I have decided to completely disconnect with, blocked, deleted their number, deleted them off of social media so they're not able to contact me or see anything that I have going on in my life or that I'm doing. And that's my decision. I have come to terms with that. I feel like that's the best thing for me to do while I'm healing, but also for the rest of my life, because I'm 24. I'm going to be 25 in 7 months. Wow. And I just really feel like I don't have any more of my life to waste. Not that I feel like I'm wasting my life, but I feel like I have been too courteous with people. Even outside of my mom passing away and outside of really just going through trial and error this year, I just really feel like I've had it. Like I've had it with people, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. Respectfully, I'm always going to respect you because my mom taught me to always be respectful. And there is, again, a place and a time to approach people and have a conversation. But if you're not going to be respectful, if you're going to continue to do things that are hurtful or just don't make sense at the end of the day, and it's interrupting my peace, and it's interrupting my life, and it's traumatizing me, I don't have to take that. I am a grown woman. Sometimes I have to remind myself, I'm not a teenager anymore. Like, I actually don't have to deal with you. Like, I actually don't. I actually don't even have to talk to you right now. So yeah, I feel like that's just something that I literally have to consistently remind myself of. Like, girl, you are 24. You make your own decisions. You pay rent. You pay rent. You don't have to keep talking to them. You can remove them completely out of your life within reason, of course. I'm not just going to block somebody because I want to block them. There is always a valid reason, especially right now in my life, for me doing what I'm doing. And God is just teaching me so much. Like, my mom passing away literally has been the heartbreak of my life. But it actually has opened up my eyes for so much that I really wish I would have listened to my mom, or even to God, or even my siblings, or other people who have spoken into my life like a long time ago. I'm like, man, I really wish I would have done that sooner. But at this point, I'm not even going to dwell on it. It's more like, okay, you live, you learn, you need to move on, do better, be better, because now you know better, So I'm just really excited to see what 2025 holds. One other thing that I feel like was important to mention was, just because you have a dream and it doesn't seem to be working out doesn't necessarily mean that God is saying it's never going to happen, or that you can't make it happen. I feel like it's just a no at the moment. It's just a no at the moment. It's a not right now. This is not fitting into your lifestyle, into your schedule. And when it comes to content creating, I think I mentioned this in the beginning of today's podcast episode, but when it comes to content creating, I love to create content. I created my first YouTube video in 2018, and I believe I started posting on Instagram probably in about 2017. My natural hair journey, I want to say, yeah. So it's been a minute. It's been about 6-7 years since your girl has been creating content. And I think I'm finally starting to take myself seriously. I'm starting to reach out to brands. Brands are reaching out to me. Some of my content, some of my videos are starting to pop off, which is actually really sad. If you're on TikTok, you know that it's very likely that their TikTok is going to get banned in the US because it is a security breach. That's all I'm going to say about that. But there are some really good bomb videos that took me no time to make at all that have really been popping off on TikTok lately. Like, I have a video right now that has about 4.5 thousand views, and I'm like, wow, what? Me? So it's just really cool because I create content because I want to help people. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did start my lock journey. I'm about 5 months locked. Right now, my hair just kind of looks like probably really raggedy mini twists. But it's okay. it's okay. I need a retwist bad, but it's okay. Life is lifing. The hair is still cute. It's still cute, period. But right now I'm just sharing my lock journey online. I am on my weight loss fitness journey, so I'm sharing a lot of those videos on YouTube as well. This past month, I have been posting 1 video per week consistently on YouTube, and I'm starting to see the results. The results are resulting, and I'm just really loving that for me, And I truly do feel like God, a lot of the time, is just like, Brianna, you were so close. Like, why did you stop? Actually, why did you stop? You could have been there months ago. And I feel like that's kind of what I want to reiterate with y'all as well, is that, sometimes you have to work for your dreams sometimes, and sometimes your dreams have to work for you. You do what you got to do. If that means staying up late night, if that means getting up earlier in the morning than you're used to and, sacrificing a little bit of sleep, or maybe go to bed earlier, that way you don't have to sacrifice any sleep, then so be it. If it's something that you really want something you really want to go for, you're going to make it happen. You're going to do what you have to do to make sure that things are getting done, baby. Okay. And I just really feel like that's important for us to remember, especially as we're going into a new year. A lot of us have goals that we had for this year that maybe we didn't touch after a couple of weeks, which happens. It's life, but I don't feel like you should forget about that one thing just because times are hard right now. I feel like, maybe it's a resting season. And I feel like for me, it definitely has been a rebuilding season. It has been a rediscovery season. So I think it's important for me to remember that, but also just to share that with you guys, because it truly is something that's really been deep in my heart and really just on my mind, honestly. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2025. One of my bigger goals for the new year is actually to become a full-time content creator. One of my smaller goals, I have about a week and a half before 2024 ends, is to reach 500 subscribers on my main YouTube channel titled Brianna Parnell. Right now I have about 490, so I'm only 10 subscribers away from reaching my goal, which is exciting. If I don't reach my goal, I'm not going to have a fit. It is what it is, but I do have dreams, I do have goals, and I am doing research and doing all of these different things to make sure that I'm, making steps and that I'm not just at a standstill and blaming myself. Because again, at the end of the day, the only person who can really move things forward in your life is you. You make your own decisions. You have a say in what you eat, what you do, how much you sleep, who you spend your time with. All of it. All of it is up to you, and it's your life. And don't let anybody make you feel like you're a burden or you have to do anything. If people genuinely make you feel bad every time you're around them or every time you talk to them, whatever the case may be, stop connecting with those people. Like, nobody wants to be around somebody who's going to make them feel crappy all the time. And I know that that's not what God wants. God wants us to be with people that enlighten us and uplift us. And as hard as it is, I've been fighting for my life for godly friendships this year. Still working on it. I'm making a little bit of progress, but still very much working on it. It's something that has gotten better for me. I am more open to doing things, whether that be with my sister, whether that be by myself, whether that be in larger settings, which is a really big step for me, actually. It's good. It's good to get outside of your comfort zone and never stop dreaming, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what God is going to do in your life. Sometimes it's unfortunate and it's sad, and sometimes it's great and it's what you really needed. You just didn't know it until it had actually happened. God's funny like that. Like, he really is funny like that. But yeah, that is everything that has happened in 2024. I'm really just looking forward to helping more people in 2025 and becoming more of myself in my grown woman era, and yeah, I'm just excited. Again, you can catch or get my book on Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or BarnesandNoble.com. I will leave the title under the show notes or the description box, again, if you are watching on YouTube. And the name of my book is called Sex, Soul Ties, and the Word. And I will also link the book trailer. It's on YouTube, so I'll link that so you guys can watch it if you're interested in it. If you know anybody who is currently struggling with soul ties, with sex, with lustful thoughts, with watching pornography, with masturbation, with thinking about those things constantly all the time and not wanting to think about that anymore, but really just being at a standstill and not knowing what to do, this book is going to be a game changer. If you have any questions about the book, or if you just want to connect one-on-one and have an actual conversation, maybe about the book or about anything that was talked about in today's podcast episode, you can always follow the self-titled podcast at Abide with Faith on Instagram, and you can always email me personally at briethecreative@gmail.com. I'm so blessed and so grateful to have amazing viewers, and I look forward to recording my next podcast episode. I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you have an amazing holiday season. Be good to people, be good to yourself, love people, love yourself, and love God above all things. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching today's podcast episode, and I will catch you in the next one. Mwah. Bye.